right? When they had Jawan Taylor and Cam Robinson and Walker Little as the potential swing or Jawan Taylor as the potential. No, it's not as strong as it was last year. It doesn't have to be for your team to still achieve what you need to achieve along the offensive line. And that doesn't mean that they're not going to draft somebody at the tackle position, but they needed to bring in somebody to be a swing tackle at some point. Josh Wells fits that bill.
Right. And look, they've gone to Cole Van Lannon, the guard, re-signed. They signed his exclusive rights tender. So they're kind of filling in slots along the offensive line this week. These are kind of low level, I'm assuming near league minimum, veteran league minimum kind of contracts here. So it's not going to upset the apple cart as far as your available salary cap space or anything like that. If you still want to get a veteran pass rusher, that is still, I think, in the cards at some point in time. But at least, there's been a little bit of veteran free agent movement. Again, I go back to many times. Eugene Monroe, the year they drafted Eugene Monroe, Jags went out and signed Trey Thomas, right? And Trey Thomas was past his expiration date at the time, right? Like, we'd hope, because he had been a good player in the league. And you're like, all right, stopgap. And if the right offensive tackle, remember, that was a year where there were like 3 or 4 offensive tackles that were going to destined to go really high in that draft. And Eugene Monroe fell to the Jags, and they went that route. But they had filled that spot to where if Monroe was off the board and they didn't have an offensive lineman they felt great about, at least they felt like they had a body they could go into off-season camps with at that point in time. E.T., what's up with you this morning?
Man, a little razzle-dazzle, trying to do some stuff back here in the behind the scenes.
Did you keep Little Gritty up late last night, man?
I sure did.
Because my man is
Slumped.
in the rack.
Yeah, I kept him up late. So he likes to play 2K. He likes to have these tournaments. But my mindset is the later I can keep him up, the longer he'll sleep in, so I can get stuff done. You know what
I
I'm
gotcha.
saying?
It doesn't. Honestly, I never really understood that as a kid. So long as I get my sleep, does it really matter if it comes between midnight and 10
Right.
or whatever the case may be? But I didn't always win that argument with my mom. That's why maybe I stay up so late like I do now.
Maybe.
We got some fresh mocks out there today, and I keep seeing these quality players that you often have seen going way off the board before the Jags would ever have a shot at considering them, hanging around in some of the latest mock drafts. So we'll take a peek at that. Our good friend Demetrius Harvey going to swing by for all the latest on the Jacksonville Jaguars front from Jacksonville.com, the Florida Times Union, and that's coming up in about 25 minutes from now. In the meantime, if you want to be a part of the program, many ways you can do it. The easiest, pick up the phone and call 641-1010. Same number works for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on Twitter, of course, at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at IME2 the T.
Come on, somebody.
Where you'll get your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, and a lot of pessimism early on this one on whether or not the Jags will get a deal done with edge rusher Josh Allen. We asked you, when, if ever, will the Jags get that deal done with Allen? In other words, a contract extension following his rookie deal to play under the 5th-year option this year. Will they get it done before the 2023 season, anytime between now and the start of the season? Will they get it done sometime during the season? Maybe you think they want to see how he plays, how he responds. Will they get it done sometime after the season before free agency would open up? Or you think maybe they just won't get it done at all? And could Josh Allen be playing his final year here in Jacksonville for the Jaguars? And again, we've talked about it so many times, Tone, but it bears repeating, I believe, that this is one of the key things you have to have in mind as the Jaguars front office as you head into this draft is what the future is of Josh Allen
No doubt.
in Jacksonville. Because all of a sudden, if you're thinking, man, we may not get this done, this may happen, this may go down that road. I mean, pass rush was already a top priority, maybe cemented as the top priority at that point in time. So we'll discuss every angle of Jaguar football with you. Glad you're on board with Tony Smith and E.T. I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Keeping the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios clean. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on 1010XL. JOI, where the pros go.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
Do you want or need to sell your home and you're just worried about the potential problems that are out there? Let me make you feel better. Go to ChadandSandy.com. You see, Chad and Sandy, the real estate experts who guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. What does this mean for you? It means you can and will have a smooth home selling process. Take Ken and Monica in Cunningham Creek out in St. Johns County, who say, we were ready to retire and move to the mountains. I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio, and what they say is true. We hired them, got multiple offers in 16 days, and sold above asking price. We can retire in style thanks to Chad and Sandy. Those are the success stories that are out there. Don't miss out. Call the agents I trust and recommend to sell my home. Chad and Sandy guarantee to sell your home or they will buy it. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. Call today.
Hey, Jack's Beats, Jeff Loggeman here. Hungry for the best brisket, pulled pork, spare ribs, jalapeno poppers, banana pudding? The Bearded Pig is there for you on 3rd Street to feed your whole crew. And don't worry for the folks in town, we're still here in San Marco. The Bearded Pig, Southern Barbecue and Beer Garden.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
There's nothing like a good fish story.
You're never going to believe me, but it was this big.
On the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show with Captain Kevin Faber.
Thursday nights at 6.
Golly, that's a giant.
On 1010XL AM.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
If golf is your thing, you might want to check out Hidden Hills Golf Club. At Hidden Hills, we simply love the game, and we take great care of our golfing friends. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Duck Duck Rooter is hiring Class B CDL septic truck drivers. You'll receive excellent weekly pay, overtime, health benefits, 401k, and more. Must have a clean MVR, DOT physical, and tanker endorsement. Apply now at duckduckrooter.com. Equal opportunity employer.
There's a magic in live radio that crackles with life and energy.
Let's go home!
Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
You just heard the promo. There's a magic in live radio. You better not tune out. You just don't know. We might make, I might make Tony disappear.
That's right.
Poof.
We're pulling rabbits out of hats during the breaks.
Try that again.
People
Poof.
never knew.
Damn, it's not working. Poof.
Yeah, well.
He's still here. Dang. Try my best, Tony. We did pull a rabbit out of a hat. No live bunnies were hurt.
No.
In the making of this radio program. I've cut down. I got a friend coming in next week. Got a hardcore golf week planned. Taking a couple days off, right? So I've been trying to dial back so I don't get caught up in a million fantasy drafts while they're ongoing. Because these drafts I do at this stage of the year take like 2 weeks. So I've got it down. I've only got 44 live drafts going right now. So that's good. Got the number down a little bit this week. And hopefully I'll roll a bunch of those out in the next week's time. Maybe I only have like 20 going by this time next week. So that'll be an ease of the burden on my mind right now.
So is the plan to just have as few as possible from this point forward while the friends are in town?
Yeah, just while he's here. And then as soon as he's gone, I'll join like 20.
Get it back up to 40.
Yeah, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it up at, I know it was like 49 at one point. It's probably over 50 at one point, but just didn't stop the count at that particular moment, you know. So 44, it's dialing it back a little bit right now, E.
And how many total leagues are you in right now?
Right now, just, you know, with the 44 ongoing, probably like 70, maybe. Something like that, right? The rest of the drafts are done. So, you know, they're done. 44 is a good number for me, though, because I'm a Reggie Jackson guy.
Yeah.
Is it Amazon? It's got the Reggie documentary on there?
It's either Amazon or Netflix, but somebody was telling me about it this morning.
I think it's Amazon. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it.
I'm with you.
I heard it was pretty good, though.
I'm sure it is. Reggie is a piece of work, though, man. Like, I know Reggie's a piece of work. Yeah. And I know there's going to be stuff in there that does not make him look good, is my guess. Because Reggie, at times, did not look good. But as a starstruck kid growing up in Connecticut in the mid to late 70s, I was like 8 years old.
Yep. You just want to hold on to that. That's Reggie.
Reggie, just push those glasses up your nose with that finger, okay? Squint in at the pitcher and hit one in the third deck.
Yeah, believe me, like Chipper Jones is my childhood icon, right? Like that, I love that dude, you know? And people always are like, well, let me tell you about Chipper. It's like, I get it. I don't want to know.
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't ask you to tell me about Chipper.
Right. I can look at the back of his baseball card, and that's everything I need to know about Chipper Jones, you know? And same thing with Reggie Jackson. I used to have a producer, who would try to get him on my birthday. You know, unbeknownst to me, he would tell me after, I worked on Reggie for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, that's good, man. I'm good. You're not supposed to meet your hero sometimes, you know, so they say.
Yeah,
I
know
heard some
let
stories.
you know the year that he was here in the building. Like, he was doing a radio show from the building. I was like, Reggie's going to be where you were.
Didn't want to meet him.
Yeah.
Nope. Just didn't. Because, and look, I've heard stories from people who did work with him that would know he's the easiest guy to get along with. So, whatever the case may be. I keep seeing that, and I'm thinking, man, my wife's like, have you not watched that 10 times already? Like, it's just It's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah,
you know,
I've,
you don't know how the sausage is made.
I know what I need to know about Reggie, right?
Right.
Like
I
that
know
kind
he hit
of
a bunch of home runs.
Yeah.
He won a bunch of World Series, won MVP. He was Mr. October. He was clutch. I don't need to know anymore.
I get it.
Than that, you know, behind the scenes with some of these guys. All right, let's get into the Jacksonville Jaguars today. Talked about the offensive line depth shaping up a little bit now. And keep in mind, I mean, Josh Wells, I would expect, is the guy that makes this football team. Chandler Brewer, maybe not. You know, maybe he just comes in and there's an opportunity for him to compete. And he looked at this depth chart. I don't know what kind of options that he had out there. But Wells does strike me as a guy that they're looking at as a piece. Even if they were to draft another, let's say, a right tackle candidate, right? nothing wrong with having a guy who's played both right and left at the NFL level, has hung around this long in the league, especially with Cam Robinson coming off injury, Tone. And they can be very happy about where they're at with Cam right now. But there's got to be a little bit. Maybe there doesn't have to be. In my mind, there's uncertainty just because we don't know the specifics. Maybe they do and they think everything's going to be fine and Cam is going to be good to go rolling by a certain date and time. But, just the fact that, he's had a few nicks here and there. I want to have as much depth as possible. It doesn't, for me, if the right guy's there, it doesn't take offensive lineman or offensive tackle off the board even very early in this draft.
Yeah, you look at the Jags depth chart, obviously Cam Robinson, Walker Little at tackle top the list at this point. Josh Wells, I would assume for now, steps in as the swing tackle, right? Like feels like he's in that kind of role. You look at the other names on the roster that have flexibility to play tackle for him, right? Coy Cronk would be, he hasn't played much, obviously, but he would be the next kind of name up. They traded for Cole Van Lanen during training camp last year. He's played tackle before, but he's more of a guard. So maybe he has the flexibility to move out there if you need him to. Shatley can play tackle, right? But that's kind of where you're at after you talk about the top two guys.
There's no one you'd be very excited about.
Right. It's Josh Wells can come in and play either tackle spot for you. Who knows what Coy Cronk is at this point from an NFL perspective. Hadn't played enough to have an idea of what he is. And then other guys who have enough positional flexibility that if you get to a Sunday and it's, you know what, our top two tackles got hurt, someone's got to play tackle, right? Like you have guys that can play out there, not necessarily guys that you feel good about playing.
Right. And as you said, like how many people know the third tackle on most NFL teams?
No doubt.
And that doesn't mean you'd be excited if one of your starting tackles goes down, but that doesn't mean that guy can't be a relatively competent stopgap for you. And I think that's what they're trying to do right now. Backfill the roster with a couple of guys that don't really impact the salary cap and put themselves in the strongest position to not have great must-haves 3 weeks from tomorrow when the draft starts. Let's head to the phones for the first time today. Keep in mind, your Jaguars today, question of the day today, when, if ever, will the Jags get a long-term deal done with edge rusher Josh Allen? Will it be before the year, the season that is, during the upcoming NFL season, after that at some point, or you don't think they'll get it done? And I will say this, if they end up, after the season, franchise tagging him, and he plays for a year on the franchise tag, that's not a long-term deal.
No.
I mean, if you think that that is a distinct possibility that they go down that road, that could fall into that latter category right there. Steve in Melbourne going to kick things off at 641-1010. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing all right, Steve.
I just wanted to give my thoughts. I think I agree with maybe halfway through the season, kind of get an idea of how he's doing those first 5 weeks or so, get an idea about that. But I had a thought on that, the Josh Wells signing, which did surprise me a little. I think it was just kind of like a placeholder like they did with Ridley, even though I know Ridley is beyond belief way better than the Josh Wells signing. Just, okay, we don't have to use a super early pick on a tackle. We will address it, but we don't have to do it early. We can fill other holes that we need. Now, planning for the future, I agree with Pete. If Torrance is there at 24, I'd take him. Barch is coming off an injury, and it's a contract year. So, I mean, that's where I would go, and we definitely need a corner because we're high on pressures, but it's easy. It's hard to get to the quarterback all the time when they're doing quick slants and shallow crosses because the slot area can't cover them that long, and I'm not letting the linebackers off the hook not being able to cover tight ends on short dumps.
All right, appreciate it, man. Look, I have no major issue if they go Osiris Torrance there. Josh Wells signing impacts that 0%. Because I think most people look at Osiris Torrance as a guy who would come in and play guard for you, and maybe somewhere down the line he could play tackle. It is Ben Barch's contract year coming up, and it depends on how they feel. Just because he's coming off an injury, I mean, if that's the standard, in terms of we got to replace this guy because he's coming off an injury, you could also look at it like, well, he beat out a veteran in Tyler Shatley, who's got a ton of NFL experience last year. And, guys get hurt. But he's still 24 years old, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm writing off Ben Barch as a long-term asset for this football team. I don't know, like, other than the fact that this is a contract year for him, like he won the job, he got hurt. I would think if he comes back healthy, you've upgraded the position simply because you're replacing the guy that got beat out with the guy that beat him out last year.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I don't think, as we've discussed, I don't think left guard is out of consideration for the Jags. I don't think swing tackle is out of consideration for the Jags in the draft, bringing in Josh Wells. I think those positions are still open for improvement, right, on this roster at this point. And if they have the opportunity where the draft, where they're picking and the value of the guy makes sense, pull the trigger.
Yeah,
and I have no issue with it.
The other thing, look, I guess you could say at the time that they traded for Ridley, you didn't know what they were going to get. And they still don't 100% know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
But those two things are not in a similar category at all. The best case scenario for Josh Wells is that he never plays a snap for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
That all he does is provide you an insurance policy. The best case scenario for Calvin Ridley is you're giving him over $20 million a year next year on a 4 to 5 year contract because he rekindled the magic that he had in his last full season in Atlanta. I mean, you're looking at, Calvin Ridley is one of the, if I say fill in the blank, Tony, Calvin Ridley is one of the blank most important Jaguars for 2023. Off the top of your head, what's the number?
5.
5. Okay, there you go. I might say 8. It might be 5, though, right? I mean, and we kind of looked at who the best players were. I think we both voted for Ridley in that category, anticipating a return something close to what he was.
Yeah.
And it may be just that he's 5. I feel like maybe there's a little wiggle room because if Calvin Ridley were to miss a few weeks, well, you still have Christian Kirk. You still got Zay Jones. You got Evan Ingram. You could probably get by a little bit. But nevertheless, huge part of the plans. And they hope not only the short term.
Yeah, to this point, he's the offseason.
Right, for the most part.
Like,
right?
that's the improvement
Calvin
they have is
Ridley and a
Calvin
couple
Ridley.
of guys, and Dearness Johnson, and basically guys that are just, guys that you hope never have to play.
Yeah, they need to get better to take a step beyond the divisional round of the playoffs. What they've done to try to get better to this point in the offseason is add Calvin Ridley in a trade halfway through the year last year.
All right, let's get Drew in Green Cove real quick. We'll come back with Demetrius Harvey in a moment from the Florida Times-Union. Drew, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Hey, morning, guys. So I'm a little concerned that it seems as though Balky kind of wants to run back the same defense. There hasn't really been a whole lot of emphasis on, in particular, getting a solid pass rush, which, as we know, can improve everything. I'm just a little bit concerned about that. I think that at some point it's going to come back to bite us. Everybody talks about the PFF numbers with the pressures and all that, but if obviously you watch the games, way too much time for these quarterbacks to kind of do whatever they wanted. There just wasn't enough of that pass rush there. So I am a little bit concerned about that, guys.
All right, look, what I would say to that is take a deep breath because, when did they sign Arden Key to the city?
It was
last
the
year?
second wave. I know that.
Definitely the second wave, right? It wasn't an immediate signing. When you say Balky hasn't done anything to address it, they don't have a lot of cap space, right? There aren't a bevy of great pass rushers out there. And, oh, by the way, most of the pass rushers remain unsigned. That means their market has bottomed out. And a lot of teams now are probably in a position where they're going to go, let's see what happens in the draft. And then if we can't get the guy we're looking for, if we're not in position to get one at a right value, then we're going to go out there and get a veteran guy. I think we all acknowledge that pass rush is a hole on this team right now. It's got to be improved, but they did try to re-sign Arden Key. They do want to bring Dwan Smoot back. He's injured. I don't know if that moves the needle at all for this year. Yeah. Regardless, they did at least visit with Calais Campbell. There's not a lot that they can do at the moment. They can't just say, hey, let me outbid you and let's go get an $18 million pass rusher. Not that there are those guys out there now, but I would, if a month from now they haven't addressed it, then I'm worried. 3 weeks from now the draft takes place, and either during the draft or immediately afterwards in veteran free agency, if they haven't addressed it, then I think I'm going to be concerned. But I don't look at it like Trent Baalke hasn't done anything to improve the pass rush. Well, he tried to re-sign Arden Key. He at least visited with Calais Campbell. They're a little bit hamstrung by the fact that they don't have this surplus of salary cap space like they've been used to having.
Arden Key last year signed the contract the 29th or 30th of March. So
Okay, so by now they had him in.
yeah, about a week ago from
And
free
look,
agency.
but
standpoint.
you know what? Who's to say they won't sign a guy like and when they signed
There's so
Arden
many
Key,
of
we're
them
like,
still
oh,
out
there's,
there.
there's a
Yeah.
little bit of interest there, you know, like in the age and the profile and what he had done. Let's take a look and see what he can do. But nobody's going, oh my gosh, Arden Key. And by the way, Arden Key came in and got you 4.5 sacks last year, and of course beautified the city in the process. But other than that, you know, there's still a lot of Justin Houstons of the world hanging out there. So let's see if they're able to do that. But granted, if nothing gets done on this front, we're going to have something to be worried about. I don't think they're dumb enough not to realize that this is a major priority, right? Heading into the draft and still what's left out there in veteran free agency as well. We'll talk about that and more with Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union. He'll join us coming up on the other side. We'll get back to more of your calls after that at 641-1010. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's another Waste Management Wednesday in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping clients all over Florida with their construction perm loans for 34 years. Construction perm loans are not easy to find because a lot of banks and credit unions don't understand them, and therefore they don't like to do them. Well, your problem is solved. Trustline Mortgage wants to help you build your dream home. Our construction perm loans are single close, so you save money by not having to close twice, like with other lenders. Some of our construction perm loans allow you to lock in your interest rate up front. And if interest rates go down, we'll give you the better rate. We offer up to 100% VA loans, up to 96.5% for FHA loans, and up to 95% for conventional loans. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. That's 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you build your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing lender. MLS number 331480.
Any adventure, any task, anytime. There's a CF Moto Utility ATV or UTV for any rider. See the full lineup at Ride Now Beach Boulevard. Venture seekers can start with the trail-tested capability and comfort of the C-Force lineup. For the ultimate in UTV performance, check out the Z-Force 950. Find your utility ATV at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or online at cfmotousa.com. ATVs are recommended for the use only by riders age 16 years and older. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends approved training course for safety and training information.
If you're often tired, have trouble exercising, or your heartbeat feels irregular, you might have atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Left untreated, AFib can put a strain on your heart and increase your risk of a stroke. But the new Heart Rhythm Center at Baptist Health can help. With the latest treatment options for heart disorders like AFib, our team of specialists can get you feeling stronger again. Learn more at baptistjacks.com/AFib or call 904-202-2342.
They spend all year fighting crime and fighting fires. Coming up April 15th at UNF Arena, they'll fight each other. Guns N' Hoses back for the 24th edition. Dan and I have been for every one of them, and we will be again this year. So join us at UNF Arena for some fist-pounding charitable action. We are back at UNF Arena, but all the fun and festivities of Fight Night are back too. That means tailgate parties beforehand at 3:30, an after party afterward at 9:30. Get your tickets today at gnhjacks.com/tickets.
It's a Monday morning must. What's that smell? Tony Baselli, Dan Hicken, and Jeff Prosser.
You smell something?
Breakfast with Boselli.
Smells super.
Brought to you by Epstein and Robbins DUI Defense Firm. Monday morning on 1010XL.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative. Free promo tip. Put your logo on golf balls and give them to clients who are bad golfers. More hacks equals more exposure. Trust me, it's science. HardballCreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
At the Daily's Dash, they're kicking pimento and taking names. Come in and try the April sandwich of the month, the Kickin' Pimento BTT. More Dash deliciousness filled with pimento cheese, bacon, tomatoes, and turkey. Are we hungry yet? Quality ingredients, friendly service, the Dailies Dash experience is going to be a pimento-kicking eye-opener for you. From locally sourced coffee ground fresh every morning to the mouth-watering sandwich menu, stop at the Dailies Dash today and try the Kick of Pimento BTT, the Dailies Dash Sandwich of the Month.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
The time to buy an emergency generator is before you need it, not when you're sitting in the dark. Storms happen in a hurry in Florida, so be prepared. Protect your family and property with American Electrical Contracting. Call them today, 737-7770.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
What are you doing here? It's good to see you two. I'm sorry, I'm confused. You are
1010XL. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Now more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, starting at noon today, in the noon hour today, we'll do twice hourly Masters updates all throughout the course of the tournament. So get that beginning shortly after noon, and you'll have them during Jaguars today for the next couple of days as well, as we watch the soggy, foggy, gloomy Masters get underway. At least that's what it looked like.
Looks nice out there right now.
It does look nice at the moment. There's some thick fog this morning when I was watching SportsCenter. Of course, there was some thick fog in the nation's oldest city this morning as well. So, but I survived, Tony, and I'm here because we got an opportunity to talk to our man Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union on that Jaguar front. Demetrius, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing all right. It seems like it's going to be raining in Augusta during the weekend, so that might not be good for some golf.
No, it may not, but here's the key, Demetrius. The weather clears up by next Wednesday, and that's when I've got my tee time set. So, you know what, Masters, you're going to have to figure it out on your own, buddy. We got more important fish to fry. All right, so let's start with the most recent signings. Couple of offensive linemen. The guy they signed this morning, I'll be honest with you, really don't know much about him other than what the press release had on Chandler Brewer. We know Josh Wells from his time here in Jacksonville. It seems to us, Demetrius, that they're trying to backfill the roster a little bit to where, you know, you get to the 24th pick, maybe you want an offensive tackle, but if the right one is there or not there, you can say, you know what, we got Cam, we got Walker Little, we got Wells who could be a swing tackle. We're not desperate at the position. Is that how that reads to you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much exactly like that, and that's almost essentially what Trent Baalke told me when I was asking him about, you know, the signings of Michael Dogby and Henry Mondu, who I probably butchered both of their names.
No, you got them both. You nailed them, buddy.
Perfect. But, yeah, you know, these kind of signings are always, you know, to fill out the roster. You know, there's a 90-man roster now. They have to bring a certain number of players into training camp. They have to bring a certain number of players into OTAs and all that. So, yeah, to sign a guy like Chandler Brewer, and I'll be honest too, I don't think I've ever seen him play it down. If I have, it might have been by mistake. But you know, that's sort of a situation where they found a guy who can provide some depth. You know, they don't have much depth on the offensive line. You know, even dating back to last year when they were calling up Blake Hance from the practice squad, they they really didn't have too much going on outside of the starting three guys, Cam, Jawan, and Walker Little. So, they have to be able to bring in guys to be able to fill out that back end of the roster, I think.
Have you heard anything about Ben Bartch and where he is in his recovery from injury? And I would assume the team views him as the left guard for them for now if he's healthy enough to play.
No, I honestly haven't. I haven't heard anything in terms of how his recovery is going or anything like that. I would imagine since I think he, hurt his knee in week 4 or week 5, at that point, it probably takes, depending on the severity of the knee injury. I remember it was reported that he dislocated his knee. We don't know necessarily what the sort of ligament damage is when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I would imagine it takes some time. I would imagine he's probably not going to be ready for spring, just a couple weeks from now. But it seems like a certain they haven't necessarily come out and spoken about how concerned they are for that position, but it is something to watch.
Yeah, and they shouldn't, really. I mean, at this point of the year, right? Why, because oh my gosh, we don't know about Ben Bartch. Oh, all of a sudden you're like, oh, are they going to grab Osiris Torrance? And you don't want to give away any kind of info. We had your cohort, John Shipley, on yesterday, and I asked him, Demetrius, what I'll ask you now, is there a particular guy that you think, who is the most likely guy that could entice the Jags to make a trade up, even if it's just a few spots? Like, is there one player that they feel, or that you feel, that they would stack head and shoulders above the likely players that would fit them at 24?
Yeah, I think that there's probably a couple guys. DeJuan Jones is one of those guys. I feel like the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. He's a guy who obviously is, huge. He's played very well. He's somebody who could come in and start at right tackle if they want him to, or eventually, replace Cam Robinson at left tackle. I think that he's a guy that could be worth trading up for. There's a guy, Brian Branch, out of Alabama. I still like him as probably my favorite potential selection at that pick, just because of his versatility. I think that the game is sort of changing into that mold where that slot corner has to offer more than just being a guy who can cover a sort of quicker receiver there. He has to be big, physical, because, the fronts are getting smaller and smaller. So he has to be able to, defend the run. I think Brian Branch is a really good player at that. And I think that, those two players are probably the guys I would personally target, in a trade up if they have to go up a couple spots in order to get them.
What do you think Cam Robinson's future is in Jacksonville? He's under contract for the next 2 seasons, 23 and 24. They can get out of it after 23 and save some money if they were to move on from Cam Robinson next offseason. Do you think he's only here next year? Do you think he plays out that contract? Do you think an extension at some point could be in the cards again for Cam Robinson?
Yeah, I think actually, Cam is probably the number one player when you're thinking of, who's sort of entering their pseudo last year of their deal. I would say it's him. I know he has the 2024 year, but I just can't imagine them sort of carrying that contract over. $22.75 million on the cap next year. They save like $17 million against the cap if they were to release him. So he's definitely playing in terms of, one of those roles where if he plays well, then there's a possible extension in the works, a la, Roy Robertson Harris. Or, if he doesn't play well, they're going to have to find a replacement, or maybe they've already drafted the replacement in this year's draft. But absolutely, I think that Cam Robinson, given his injury history and, sort of the, I don't want to say inconsistent, but just not as dominant as maybe you would like. I think that he's definitely a guy who, might be playing his last year in Jacksonville.
Talking here with Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union. Demetrius, Tony and I were just talking on the break about the ongoing, situation with Josh Allen, Calvin Ridley, both playing under respective fifth-year options this year because they traded for Ridley. And Tony brought up a point that I hadn't really thought much about, that, if they want to go down the franchise tag option potentially with Josh Allen, that means they can't use it on Calvin Ridley, right? There's 2 guys you could see them wanting to potentially keep next year if they can't work out a long-term deal. Our question of the day, and I know we've talked about this before, I don't know if it has been in these specific terms. Do you think they'll get a deal done with Josh Allen? Will he get another contract with this football team, I guess, is my question for you.
I think he's trending in the same direction as Cam Robinson, honestly, except for he's actually entering the final year of his deal.
Right.
I think he needs a situation where he plays incredibly well. 7 sacks last season was okay, not good enough in my opinion for a top 10 pick, and I think he knows that. He understands. You know, if you talk to him, he says the same thing. So you know, I think it's a situation where they're not going to extend him this offseason. I would be completely shocked. So they're going to go into the season with Josh Allen under contract, and you know, by and large, the Jaguars aren't in the business of giving out extensions during the year. So it'll be a situation that we're going to have to wait until after the season plays out to fully understand. At this point, I would lean towards no on extending Josh Allen, only because of what he's, you know, put on the field of the last couple of years and sort of how the direction it seems like the team is headed in. They're still going to be aggressive at trying to find an edge rusher. That seems very obvious and evident after the league meetings last week. So as of right now, I would say, you know, he's probably trending towards heading into his last season as a Jaguar, but obviously like a 13, 14 sack season, maybe even a 10 sack season could change things.
You know, I've been saying for weeks now, as Tony and I and ET have been talking about this subject, I think going into the draft, the 2 questions I need to have the answers to, and I'm sure they have their own answer, we just are not privy to it, is exactly in their mind the likelihood that Josh Allen is a part of the future, and do they plan on keeping Trayvon Walker basically in the role he was in last year, primarily as an outside linebacker? So if you think, Demetrius, and if they're of a like mind with you, like, hey, we're open to it, but he's going to really have to show us something this year. Are you at drafting at 24 almost with the idea that we're not drafting depth at pass rush if we take one there? This is an eventual replacement who'll be in the starting lineup by 2024.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly the thought process they should have, really. It's a situation where you want to be able to use Trayvon Walker inside more. You want to be able to, you know, utilize him in more, you know, versatile situations. And so when you draft a guy at 24, he's not going to just sit on the bench. He would play, you know, obviously all of Arden Key's potential snaps that he had, and then probably more because, you know, you have a newer role for Trayvon Walker. I think that's the direction that I would head in if they're thinking edge at 24, because you can't draft a guy that comes in, you know, every couple downs, maybe makes a play or two, and then, you know, does nothing after that. You have to draft a guy who could come in and eventually start for your team as a first-round pick. So, you know, yeah, if they do draft an edge, I think that'll say a lot about how they feel about Josh Allen and sort of the direction that they're leaning toward.
The team had Calais Campbell in for a visit, as we all talked about a lot, you know, a couple weeks ago. It didn't work out with him coming to Jacksonville, chose Atlanta. Obviously, the offensive line stuff kind of flared up 3 or 4 days ago, and they've signed a couple offensive linemen since it flared up. When or do you think the Jaguars still will sign some veteran pass rusher to come in here before the draft, or you think that's all going to wait the 3 weeks till after the draft at this point?
I think at this point, I mean, barring something happening, I guess, the remainder of this week and then a little bit into next week, I really do think that after the draft makes a lot of sense. That's usually when a lot of other veteran free agents sign their contracts, especially the older guys. I mean, they usually, you know, teams usually tell the agents, like, hey, we're going to go through the draft process and then we'll circle back if he's still available. I think that that's sort of the direction that the Jaguars can take, because you can go ahead and take your 9 picks or whatever it ends up being, and then after that you can circle back to free agency and say, hey, you know, Melvin Ingram is still out there, you know, Justin Houston is still out there, you know, those kind of guys, and you can bring them in, because at that point you know how your roster is structured, you know how everything is sort of playing out as you get into camp. So I think it makes sense, you know, just after the draft, sort of fill out that part of the roster. I don't think there's any reason to panic until, you know, probably preseason week 1, I guess, is when people start panicking.
Nah, it's fun to panic at all times, Demetrius. Don't you know what being a sports fan is all about? All right, Demetrius Harvey, Florida Times-Union. You got 3 weeks to go. I know we'll have the little pre-draft luncheon to write up, but what are the storylines you're most hoping to write about, or what features? What do you have coming up at the Florida Times-Union?
Yeah, so I still have to write this, but, you know, I talked to a couple of guys about, you know, sort of off-season training, the wide receivers, you know, going to different camps. There's a lot of these camps opening up nowadays that you see on Instagram and stuff like that. So I have that coming eventually, and then also we're going to be, going position by position, sort of the top 5 guys at each position in the draft, and that'll start on, I believe, April 12th and carry all the way to draft week. So, we have a lot of content coming about the draft, about the Jaguars. Really interested to find out how everything's going.
I got to ask you, because I don't think I realized you were an FAU alum, okay? Was that in your Twitter bio prior to the last 2 weeks, or is that a new addition to the Twitter bio?
No, that's been in my
Has
Twitter
it?
bio probably for forever.
All
Yeah.
right. I believe you. I guess I just never got past the old Jacksonville Jaguars reporter part of it right there. But, now I feel bad because had I known you had gone to FAU, I would have pulled for them. And that might have made all the difference, Demetrius. But it was a fun run, I'm sure, nonetheless. But check out Demetrius on Twitter, as I'm sure you do if you listen to this program regularly. Demetrius82 is where you can find him, and doing great work for the Florida Times-Union at Jacksonville.com. Demetrius, all the best, buddy, until the draft. Maybe I'm sure we'll catch up at least once before then, but thanks for popping on with us today.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
All right, pal. There he goes, FAU alum. Maybe it's just a little more prominent now. I don't know. You got the little owl in there. He probably had it the whole time. I just didn't notice it.
Well, it's been a good couple of weeks to puff out the chest if you're an FAU alum.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe it was because you look at Demetrius's Twitter banner, like the picture on his page, and it's the Florida Atlantic University baseball scoreboard right there. And maybe I just never noticed that. I don't know. Maybe I need to be more observant with my man Demetrius, but he does a great job, as you well know, covering the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, food to digest on that front, and we'll discuss it on the other side. Halfway home, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helping you over the hump. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on Jaguars Today.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Now, Studio Talk with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You look great, Grandpa.
So you're that guy.
There's always one.
Right up till there's not.
The Drill.
Shame you have to leave so early. You know, you really are the life of the party.
Mornings on 1010XL.
There's no way to prepare for the impact an accident makes on your life. That's why we've spent 40 years getting ready for that moment when you need compassion and immediate action. The right doctors, investigators, our team of experienced attorneys, and your free consultation is already in place. So if you've been hurt, remember, the Farah Safety Net is right here to catch you. All you have to do is call Farah & Farah. It's what we built. Jacksonville.
It's time to play Fix That Plumbing Problem. What do you do if you have a leaky pipe? Contestant 1.
Put a bucket under it?
That's it.
And maybe a towel?
Contestant 2. That's right. Just call the doc.
Clogged drains, leaky pipes to full repipes, just call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. Commercial, residential, any plumbing issue.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph is such a hardy, big, beautiful bike. If they come into the showroom, what can they find?
You're going to find everything from the modern classics, the Trident, the Scramblers, the Bobbers. We've got it all.
And inventory is always changing, right?
It is always changing. It's fluctuating fast. If you see it, you better get it.
So come on into the showroom. That's the easiest way. Or log on to cyclesofjacksonville.com. We're on Atlantic near Regency. That's Cycles of Jacksonville.
Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is ready to help. If you need extra cash or a quick loan, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash in hand. They also love to buy items of value. They need gold, silver coins, and flatware, jewelry, guitars, and of course, guns.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Drivers and heavy truck mechanics, if you like sports, then you're going to love working at Waste Management.
We have a team atmosphere here where we're looking out for one another. We jump in to help out.
Listen up. WM is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
It's camaraderie. It's everything. I like it.
Steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus, over-the-top benefits like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family. And home every day.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics. Apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people first, military friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM. Your shrimp in the bag.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS opens this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is ViStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday featuring Habajacks. Tomorrow is Thirsty Thursday, then Red Shirt Friday with fireworks and more fireworks Saturday courtesy of 1-to-1 Financial and Atlantic Self Storage. Baseball all week and weekend. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Your shrimp in the bag.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather starting to turn for the better, look ahead. Get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are best in the business. If you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
I'm Taylor Dahl with your 1010XL local sports update. A whole lot of baseball last night as the Jumbo Shrimp home opener took place. Jacksonville started their 6-game series against Durham. The Bulls able to pull away late with a 14-8 win. Series continues tonight. And number 3, Florida baseball used 11 hits to outlast Bethune-Cookman by a score of 8-4. Relief pitcher Clete Hartzog collected his first win as a Gator, allowing 1 across 1 inning. And a first-inning grand slam for JU Baseball's Chandler Howard helped push the Dolphins to a 5-4 win over Florida State last night. Chris Armstrong hits his 17th home run of the season, second in the nation. And with 2 outs and USF batting with the tying run at third, UNF's Matt Clements threw the run out at first, ending the game in favor of the Ospreys 5-4 in 10 innings. 78 degrees at 11:05. Time and temper brought to you by Bueller Air Condition. Stay cooler with Bueller.
All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Jaguars today
on 1010XL.
Yeah, it was fun yesterday to see the photos of Trevor Lawrence making the rounds on social media, rocking that Jumbo Shrimp jersey, right? Jacksonville and blazing across the front. He looked really upset to be here, didn't he?
Yeah.
My God, man, what a rough life I found myself
small
living.
Town, nothing going on.
It's just, when am I ever going to get an endorsement? You know, we say facetiously because that's what we heard.
Yeah.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence doesn't want to play in Jacksonville, Tony. Why would he not want to play in New York? Oh, because look at how well things have gone for Zach Wilson. Of course, Trevor's a much better player than Zach Wilson. Of course, after 1 year, the NFL told you, at least the players in the top 100 told you that Mac Jones was a better player because he had a better rookie season. And, man, that story is getting uglier to the point where now, if you read between the lines, like, I don't know if anybody thinks that Mac Jones is going to be back in New England this year.
Right.
The fact that they've shopped him reportedly to multiple teams, then again, haven't found any pursuers. You wonder what the asking price is. How big of an asking price could there be for a guy that you're down on, that you're trying to ship out, that I think most people look at as a game manager type? And look, not everybody can be a game manager type. Like, I think Brock Purdy is a game manager type. He was exceptional at it.
Yeah.
Didn't lose a game that he completed last year, right? And then he got hurt in the playoffs, and so be it. But
well,
he executes the game plan at an extremely high level. He just doesn't, quote-unquote, play above the X's and O's that much.
Well, Mac Jones was fine playing as a rookie with an offensive coordinator, right? Like, they went to the playoffs his rookie year when they had an offensive coordinator as opposed to defensive coaches coaching offense. And I get it. Josh McDaniels is a really accomplished offensive coordinator beyond that, right? Like, he's a guy who had already had a shot as a head coach, had a second shot, turned it down. Who knew if he was going to get another shot after turning down the Colts the way that he did, right? But goes back to New England, becomes one of the better offensive coordinators in the league again, right? Had a rookie quarterback, didn't try to put him in uncomfortable situations, coached him up, got the best out of him. He's on the top 100 list. They're in the playoffs. People can, at least with a straight face, make the argument that he was the best of the rookie class for a year, right? Like, it was ridiculous long-term, I think most people in Jacksonville felt, with Trevor Lawrence going into year two after all the chaos of his rookie year. But New England didn't do him any favors year two. And now you get all these stories coming out about Bill Belichick being upset with Mac talking to people outside the building. And now they tried to trade him to multiple teams this offseason. I mean, it's a not fun situation, I would guess, for Mac Jones at this point.
You know, who was it that came out? There was that story that Lamar Jackson wants to play for New England. Like, come get me, Belichick. And then was it Asante Samuel? I shouldn't ascribe it to somebody unless I'm 100% sure, but I feel like it was Asante Samuel. I could probably look it up quickly enough. Said, nah, you better think twice about that. You know, that you're not going to have a whole lot of fun playing up there. It's one thing when you're winning all these championships, you know, and you're Tom Brady. Well, how did Tom Brady put up with it? Well, he probably got to do whatever he wanted to do because he proved it very early that he was a championship caliber player. And, you know, he always had the benefit of taking a less than market value deal because his wife was, and they could surround him with, you know, that might have been the difference in one or two starters every year.
Certainly.
That Brady. Now, I don't know if the bet is available in Vegas. I would bet the better odds that Mac Jones doesn't play again for the New England Patriots, which is crazy to think that it got this far after he did have such a good rookie season and it played under the circumstances he did last year. But apparently it's not only is it the fact that he sought outside counsel, and the report is he went to Steve Sarkisian, who he, you know, played under at the University of Alabama as an offensive mind, and just said, hey, look, what are you seeing? What can I do differently? Can you help me out? Give me some ideas. Which to me, you know, if you don't, like, I get it, you want to keep it in staff. Well, was Brady keeping it in staff with that Guerrero guy and the training staff? You know, like,
it does feel like this potentially could be a residue from whatever that conflict was.
Maybe
right?
it is,
and
right?
you couldn't do it as publicly with Tom Brady
because he's got all the rings,
right? As you can with Mac Jones.
Maybe that's the case.
No, keep it in house, man. That's the way we do
and then,
things.
That Belichick though was also upset with his sideline histrionics. Really? Like, I mean, really? You know, I mean, wasn't the last guy there known for being the league leader in sideline histrionics?
Sure.
I mean, you know, and again, you win a bunch of rings, you're going to be judged differently. But it seems like in some ways, Mac Jones is cut right out of the Tom Brady playbook, you know, and that's no longer acceptable. up in New England,
Apparently.
or so it appears. The NFL would love for you to focus on this petty little quarterback
Yeah,
issue.
they got their own things going on.
Much more so than the situation that's brewing in Arizona right now, as you had Terry Donahue come out yesterday, and he's filed a grievance with the league that alleged, among other things, outright cheating. Remember, Steve Keim, their GM, got suspended for DUI and was sent away for however many months. And I remember at the time, we're like, well, how do you enforce that, really, right? And so Donahue said that the team distributed burner phones to them so they could run everything by Keim. Basically, okay, here's your suspension. You don't have to come into the office. We're going to do this secretly. And the Cardinals admit, yes, burner phones were used, but once ownership found out, they took swift and immediate action. Donahue was saying, no.
I think it's McDonough.
Or McDonough, I'm sorry. Yes, McDonough is saying, it is Terry McDonough, that they gave us the phones. And this is the team's plan. I would think this is pretty easily provable. Like, if you and he says he has the phone.
Yep.
You know, at what date did you get this? You know, who else can corroborate what kind of conversations were taking place and what the atmosphere was like? Of course, this all goes to the NFL's arbitration system, so you probably never learn the true details of it. But rare is it when you have a guy who worked in the front office of a team, no matter how it ended with that team, coming out and just outright accusing the team of cheating. Not only that, racial discrimination, all kinds of stuff going on in that organization. But, you know, cheating is a headline grabber that the NFL certainly would rather have you focus on Mac Jones and Bill Belichick right now.
Well, and obviously the accusations have struck a nerve with the Cardinals organization, given how they've responded, basically, like, publicly to what was said. I mean, when the statement, and I can read from it here, we are reluctantly obliged to provide a public response along with broader context for some disappointing and irresponsible actions by Terry McDonough. Says Cardinals Jim McCarthy, who's a public relations advisor, claims he has made in an arbitration filing are wildly false, reckless, and an opportunistic ploy for financial gain. Our position was consistent with many efforts we've made to accommodate Terry during his time with the team, despite difficulties in his personal life and his often volatile demeanor toward colleagues. That's why we are saddened to see that Terry is now lashing out at our organization with disparagements and threats that are absurdly at odds with the facts. The unnecessary and vindictive action by Terry was intended to malign his co-workers, our owner Michael Bidwell, and our team with outlandish accusations.
Well, look, you know,
they're going to defend themselves, but that's,
of course,
like, usually a statement from an NFL team's like, we're aware of a situation.
Like, right. And no matter what his personal life is going on, that doesn't mean you didn't give him a burner phone.
Right.
Like, did you give him a burner phone or not?
Has nothing to do with actually responding to any of the allegations, which you're going to do with whatever the process is going to be anyway.
They're trying to say he's an unreliable witness and assassinate his character, and which, by the way, makes no sense because there's no jury pool to influence here.
You got to convince Goodell.
Right.
Essentially.
And what side do you think he's coming down on? The team or the disgruntled former employee?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the team. That's just a guess, though. I haven't seen the evidence in this. And look, they're entitled to their, like you said, they're, you know, to use that phrase, day in court, so to speak, even though there's no court proceedings. So there's definitely some juicy things going on around the National Football League at this time of year. And quite frankly, I mean, the NFL probably loves the Belichick, Mac Jones thing. Even put the Cardinals situation aside. That's the kind of thing that drives interest. It drives on the talking head shows, drives
that's
segments.
just talking about the league.
Right, that's just like, Bill Belichick's upset with his quarterback. Could this be a landing spot for Lamar Jackson? Could they get involved in the Aaron
3
Rodgers
weeks before the draft,
pursuit?
Talk Lamar, talk Mac, talk where all these
Talk all this
quarterbacks are going to
nonsense,
land,
yes.
all of it. Bring it all on.
We love that kind of
Don't
stuff.
talk about controversy with an owner and organization.
No, nothing to see here, please. All right, we'll come back, and it is not Mock Draft Monday, but got some interesting ones for the Jags. 3 mocks, 2 of them go in a particular direction in the first round, one of them going in a different direction on opposite side of the ball. We'll tell you some of the latest. Lance Zierlein really, he really went to the edge with this one with NFL.com. And as a guy based in Houston, acknowledged Texan fans probably not going to be very happy with me the way this whole thing plays out. So we'll get into that coming up on the other side. Plus, Tony will take you around the league. There's plenty going on, as there always is in the National Football League. With Tony Smith and ET, I'm Mike Dempsey. Keep it right here. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Waste Management Wednesday continues from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, Jack's Beach, is Jeff Lagerman here. Hungry for the best brisket, pulled pork, spare ribs, jalapeno poppers, banana pudding? The Bearded Pig is there for you on 3rd Street to feed your whole crew. And don't worry for the folks in town, we're still here in San Marco. The Bearded Pig, Southern Barbecue and Beer Garden.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
In sports, the grind outside the lines is what ultimately defines our success. Get the amateur's edge, powered by B3 Better, to learn the hidden path of top pros, amateurs, and coaches. Saturday mornings at 11 on 1010XL.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Parents, now's the time to start signing up your kids for the best all sports and basketball camps in the 904. Tommy Houlihan All Sports and Basketball Camps in Jacks Beach. All sports camps, kids K through 6th. All day basketball camps, 2nd grade through 7th grade. Hours 9 to noon. Extended hours also available. Kids can also register for the Beaches Basketball League, ages 3 years old through 5th grade. Keep your kids active this summer with Tommy Houlihan sports and basketball programs. Online at TommyHoulihanBasketball.com.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
I-9 Sports, flag football, basketball, soccer, and t-ball. Play year-round with co-ed programs ages 3 to 17. Duval, Clay, and St. John's. Enter promo code 1010XL for $5 off. Check out i9sports.com for all the details.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis. 904-777-IHRS or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Fact, we all want to feel better, especially when our joints hurt. Are you stuck on the sidelines but want to get back in the game of life? My friend Dr. Alan Nathans has a no-needle regenerative clinic for people with degenerated arthritic joints, like bone-on-bone knees, shoulders, hips, and more. He uses no-needle soft wave tissue regeneration technology that activates your own stem cells to grow brand new tissue. Long-term results. Don't do another cortisone injection. Dance at 50, golf at 60, river run at 70. Yes, yes, and yes. Check out Dr. Nathans at drnathans.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
We're looking for a bag man. You want the job?
Rick Ballou.
Yeah? Okay, you got it.
He studied criminology at Florida State, but now sports are his bag.
What's in the bag, man?
Ballou.
Drop the bag.
Evenings on 1010XL. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I think that the game is sort of changing into that mold where that slot corner has to offer more than just being a guy who can cover a sort of quicker receiver there. He has to be big, physical, because, the fronts are getting smaller and smaller. So he has to be able to, defend the run. I think Brian Branch is a really good player at that.
Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union earlier with us discussing which player or players might entice the Jaguars to make a trade up, or if you like, Big Meech. I don't know if anybody calls him Big Meech but E.T., but E.T. calls him Big Meech.
Big Meech, baby.
That's kind of what he's known as behind the scenes around these parts. So unbeknownst to maybe even Big Meech, that he's called Big Meech. But we appreciate Demetrius for popping in. It was interesting yesterday. John Shipley said Nolan Smith would be the guy that he thinks could be the apple of the Jaguars' eye. And again, we're not saying, hey, look, if Nolan Smith goes 10th overall, God bless, man. We're not getting up to 10.
Yeah.
But if you start getting around that 20th pick, maybe there's an opportunity for the Jags to make a move. Somebody sent me this. I'm going to give you just I don't want to go too deep into this because I can't verify it, but I know the source, so I'm going to trust it. Basically, he's got a friend who's in the Boston media and says it's a known fact up there that Belichick hates Mac Jones and that they're not allowed to talk about it on the beat or they're going to get denied access. Don't think that doesn't happen.
Oh, for sure.
Right? That, it's sure, you're an independent journalist. Just try to say something we don't want you to say.
You're going to be very independent.
Right. You're going to – good luck blogging from the outside looking in. But by the way, apparently no love lost for the Mac Jones side up in Boston. I don't know. We all get – Mac Jones has a little bit of that entitlement or, that cocksuredness about him. And I get it. You played at Alabama. You're really good. You got drafted in the first round. You got to have some of that, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the American sports fan likes it to a degree, will tolerate it when it's on their own team. And other than that, you better back it up on a pretty regular basis.
Better win.
Yeah. Regularly.
That's what it comes down to. It's everyone's cool with it. Your rookie year, when you're winning 10 games,
right.
You're in the top 100, you're going to the playoffs. Okay, we can roll with whatever at that point. But last year, not so much.
Joe Burrow's cocky. Not going to win the Super Bowl every year. Hasn't won the Super Bowl, but is putting the Bengals in contention every year. And he basically gets a pass for the most part, right? He'll smoke his victory cigar and la, la, la. And in the end, buddy, you ain't won nothing at this level.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. You went to the Super Bowl. Lottie freaking da. You know, you got the Lamar Hunt Trophy. You know, like nobody cares unless you win the big one.
Still
but
hunting.
he is in the hunt,
Mhm.
and that, you know, basically, Joe Burrow, man, he's got a big chip on his shoulder. Da 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 da. Let Joe Burrow miss the playoffs a couple of years in a row and keep that same kind of attitude going, and see how widespread that would be accepted.
Sure.
As well. Probably not as much.
He already bugs me. So, I mean,
All those
whatever.
guys bug me to a
Yeah.
degree if they're not on my team. If they're on my team, they can bug me.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on who they are, right? Up to a certain level, says the guy who's
But-
a fan of Reggie Jackson.
But there's that joy that you get. You know that you're watching it going, oh, wow, look at this guy. But in your head, you're like, those fans on the other sideline are like, I want to kill him.
Yes,
Right? And there's
totally.
there's some kind of joy in that, right? Like when it's your guy and it's like, I can love him all I want, and the other side hates how much I love him.
Yes.
You know, like that's fandom, man.
All right, let's take a quick look around the National Football League with Tony Smith.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
As we've been discussing, Pro Football Talk reported on Tuesday that the New England Patriots have shopped quarterback Mac Jones to multiple teams during this offseason. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed former New England quarterback Brian Hoyer to a 2-year deal, reuniting Hoyer with Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels, who he played for when he was the offensive coordinator in New England. Cleveland wide receiver Michael Woods II, during a workout in Texas, tore his Achilles and is expected to miss the entire 2023 season. Woods was signed by the Browns as an undrafted free agent last year, caught 5 passes in 10 games for Cleveland. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed tight end Zach Gentry to a 1-year deal, safety Keanu Neal to a 2-year deal, and a 2-year deal with safety DeMonte Kazee as well. And we went through everything that Arizona's dealing with. We'll see how that all shakes out here over the course of the next few weeks, maybe months.
Isn't DeMonte Kazee the guy who tore up Marquise Lee's knee?
Yeah, torpedoed Marquise Lee's knee.
Yes. So, not a fan.
He's the guy.
All right, 3 mocks here. Tony, would you take Darnell Wright, okay, out of Tennessee, if I offer him to you? We're on, is it The Price is Right? No, it's Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah.
Well, let's make a deal. Tony, I will offer you 1 Darnell Wright.
Okay.
Right tackle, maybe a walk-in-the-door starter at right tackle. Certainly by 2024, we anticipate he will be your starting pass protector on the right side of the offensive line for Trevor Lawrence. Or will you take what's behind the curtain or in the box? Which one would you go with? You going to take Bird in hand?
I'm assuming the box is the list of players that went after Darnell Wright in whatever this mock
You can
draft
assume
is.
what you want, but when you open that box and you find it's a very small cow, because they gave away a lot of farm animals back in the day.
It's going to be like a UHF moment when
I don't
I'll
know.
take the mystery box and there's nothing in it. You get nothing.
I've never seen you. Is that from the movie UHF?
Yeah.
I've never seen
It's
it.
a Weird Al movie.
I do recall that, but I've never seen it.
Taking
Taking Darnell Wright, or you throwing him back and gambling on what you're going to get here?
I think I'm going to gamble.
You're going to gamble.
Yeah.
E.T., do you want Darnell Wright? Do you want the box, which is like 3 foot by 3 foot, cube size box, or would you like what's behind the curtain?
Man, I'm sure curious of what's behind the curtain.
Could be a Camaro.
But Tone's going with behind the curtain, so I'm taking Darnell Wright.
You're taking Darnell Wright.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
taking
Tony went with the curtain.
I went with the curtain.
Okay. Y'all should have gone with the box. Nah, I'm just kidding. Because the box and the curtain are the same guy. What I did was I looked at 3 mocks, and the first one had the Jags taking Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. Right,
Okay.
We've seen him. The other 2 had the same guy. So in the box or the curtain, you got Joey Porter Jr., the corner out of Penn
Oh!
State. You feel like you're a winner.
Ding,
now.
ding,
Tony
yeah.
feels like
Yeah,
a winner now.
he does.
E.T. But 2 out of 3 with Joey Porter Jr. today, a guy who at one stage was not infrequently, I would say, mocked in the top dozen or so, right? Still does get mocked up there from time to time. In fact, in the one where the Jags take Darnell Wright, let me see. Oh, that's they got Hendon Hooker going off right before. So that's a 3rd mock now. This one's at Sports Illustrated, by the way, that had him taking Darnell Wright and Hooker going 1 pick before. So that's on the heels of Todd McShay also having Hendon Hooker going to Minnesota at 23. Joey Porter Jr. going 17th to Pittsburgh. You see that so often in mocks, right? And, of course, Joey Porter Sr. played a number of years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a good fit. It's a position fit. It's a legacy pick. It's all those things. So it's hard for some people to get him past Pittsburgh with the 17th selection.
Sure.
But Tony feels like a winner.
I do.
By taking Joey Porter Jr., says Pro Football Network, who had him going to the Jags in their mock. Porter must make strides in his game to become a consistent player in coverage, but the Jags have earned our faith in their ability to propel cornerbacks forward. Tyson Campbell has grown into a fantastic player in Jacksonville. Porter Jr. has the potential to be even better. E.T., you took Darnell Wright, right? So now, knowing you can't have Joey Porter, I offer you what's behind door number 2. You can have Darnell Wright, or you can have one of the next 3 players selected in that mock draft.
Oh, I'm going one of the next 3?
Yes, one of the next 3. So
Yeah.
you're going for door number 2 now.
Yeah.
Let's see if E.T. has chosen wisely in his selection. Passing up the Jaguars' right tackle of the future, E.T. gets his choice now of Deonte Banks, the Maryland corner, who most would tell you is not as good as Joey Porter Jr., at least most rankings. Number 26 to Dallas, Michael Mayer, the Notre Dame tight end, right? And then, or you could go wild card selection with Zay Flowers, the Boston College wide receiver. Who would you like out of that trio?
Let me go ahead and get the tight end.
Just going to get Michael Mayer and lock it down for the next however long at tight end. So you got your inline and your move guy loading up the offense. By the way, Darnell Washington goes 28th in that one. Brian Brzee goes 29. Brian Branch goes 30th. Stop me if you come across a guy the Jags haven't been connected to, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then Jalen Hyatt. So stop me right there, going to Kansas City with the last one. Lance Zierlein in his mock is one of the ones at NFL.com that had the Jags going Joey Porter. Had the Texans going Tyree Wilson with the 2nd pick in the draft, right? First of all, Panthers go Bryce Young at 1 in his mock. There's been a lot of smoke around C.J. Stroud, but Young checks more boxes and makes more sense as a game-ready option for Frank Reich. You can debate the merits of those comments however you like. Not our issue. Tyree Wilson going as the top pass rusher to the Houston Texans, then Will Anderson to the Cardinals. This is what I'm not quite sure I'm buying. The Colts then trade their pick and more to the Ravens for Lamar Jackson. When C.J. Stroud is sitting right there, you got every quarterback but Bryce Young available to you. And you haven't had to move at all. And you still got all the issues. Got to design an offense around him, and which may be not that difficult, okay, but you got to pay him all the money. You got to give up the draft capital. You know, the contract that C.J. Stroud or whatever player signs with the 4th pick in the draft, the total 4-year value will be less than 1 year of what Lamar Jackson is going to earn. And so it is a consideration, but that is kind of wild. So it puts Lamar Jackson in the AFC South.
Yeah.
Okay, Jalen Carter goes to the Seahawks. Devon Witherspoon, who we saw mock to the Jags yesterday, going 6th overall here to the Lions. Then the Texans, after being in position to get Stroud, if they wanted him, trade up from 12 to 7 and take Will Levis. And as soon as he put this out, Zierlein is like, yeah, I'm going to be hated in my own city, right? Because he works in Houston. R.J. Saunders, his producer, by the way, 1010XL alum. And they trade up for Levis, which allows Anthony Richardson to fall, and he falls all the way to 14 where the Patriots take him right there. Seems a little bit convenient. I can't see Anthony Richardson making it to 14. I can see the Patriots making a move for him, like if they wanted to go that route, but I can't see him just sliding to 14.
Yeah.
With Will Levis being the target of a trade-up.
Yeah.
That would surprise me.
That would surprise me, too.
Especially if the Texans are in position. Like, you know, here's an idea. Why don't you trade up for Tyree Wilson? You know, like, go get the quarterback you want out of all these guys, unless you think that is Will Levis. If you think they prefer Will Levis, then this is probably the route to go. Get the best position player and still get Levis. And pay a little extra to do it, but instead of taking Levis above where most teams would take him, missing out on a better player, I guess that would make sense. You'd have to be pretty convinced that Levis is the guy. And on top of that, You can't know for a fact that Seattle won't take him at 5, or somebody won't trade in front of you, or, and where you moved up to the 7th pick, somebody else won't offer more. I think if you need a quarterback in your position to get one, you better be damn sure what you're doing if you let him slide by and you try this game.
And it doesn't look like Lance buys all that much into the ideas that have been coming up this week about Tennessee moving up to go get a quarterback potentially with he's got them at 11 taking Jackson Smith and Jigba, which, okay.
Right, with Anthony Richardson staring him in the face.
So maybe he just thinks that Levis would be the guy that they'd be willing to make a trade up for and not Richardson, like that kind of thing.
Or Stroud, and that chip is off the table.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But they pass on Richardson there at 11 with a team that is at least purportedly interested in quarterback in this draft.
Well, you would think Tennessee's not trading up with Indy, for instance, even if Indy's willing to trade out of that spot. Look, a lot of misdirection going on right now, right? And I'm not saying Lance Zierlein's a part of it. It's like they're fun to look at, but we'll look back in 3.5 weeks and we'll go, remember some of those crazy scenarios that people were suggesting in these mock drafts?
Yep.
All right, we'll come back with the Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Chad and Sandy Real Estate guarantees you multiple offers on your home in 3 days or they'll sell it for free. Visit them online at chadandsandy.com. When, if ever, will the Jags get a deal done, long-term deal, with Josh Allen? We'll discuss when we return in the moment. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Keeping the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios clean. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on 1010XL. JOI, where the pros go.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Hey, I'm Liz Gruby, the events director of the Jacksonville Business Journal, and I'm here to invite you to join us for our annual 40 Under 40 celebration. It's a great chance to network and celebrate an excellent group of young leaders from all different industries. For tickets and details, visit jbjevents.com. And I hope to see you at our 40 Under 40 Awards Luncheon on April 20th at the Hyatt Regency Riverfront. jbjevents.com.
Tired of the same old places for happy hour? Downtown's best is at Bellwether. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 because why not? For all you late-nighters, Bellwether offers nightcap specials on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 11. Want a snack with your cocktail? Bellwether has a unique bar food spread. And guess what? All metered parking is free after 6 and weekends. That's Bellwether Downtown.
ITB Partners, the official financial firm for the station to beat inflation.
Whoa, Dan. People don't want to joke about their money, not during these tough times.
You mean they'd rather hear about how ITB Partners takes our money and makes us more money?
Now you're talking. They make financial planning simple and easy to understand, even for a couple of slappies like us.
Those guys have been serving Hickets for 3 generations. Junebug, me. I even got my son Juju being smart with his money in his 20s.
It's never too early to talk with Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Brian Wright, Reagan Wright, Jeff Hartman, and Craig Ross.
Financial questions, ideas, or thoughts, email chris@itbpartners.com.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best products for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
Who gets to wear the green jacket? Catch Masters updates on 1010XL.
The defending champion says, "Remember me?"
Brought to you by MyBookie and Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
It's the home opener for the Jacksonville Sharks, Saturday, April 15th at 7 o'clock at the VyStar Arena. Cheer the Sharks to victory over the San Antonio Gunslingers.
Hey, it's Sharks head coach Jason Gibson. Join us as we take on the San Antonio Gunslingers. The Gunslingers will bring in a high-powered attack, but teams will find out fast how hard it is to play in the Shark Tank.
It's family affordable fun with tickets as low as $15. Call 621-0700 or go to jacksharks.com. Fins up.
What is the oldest bridge here in Jacksonville? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Acosta Bridge, originally known as the Yellow Monster, was finished in 1921. Just celebrated its 100th birthday.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case. Plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit WilsonChildrens.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Calling all Buffalo Bills, Annie Oakley's sharpshooters, and amateur marksmen. Join some fun folks for an afternoon of competitive clay shooting to benefit Operation New Uniform, providing transformative training and career services to empower veterans and military spouses to successfully transition from military service to a meaningful career. Friday, April 28th at Clay Target Sports on a state-of-the-art 15-station sporting clay course. Register at onvet.org.
It's fantasy golf at the Masters. Come on! Choose your golfers carefully. Drains it! You can win $250 cash from MyBookie and a $100 barbecue feast from Woody's Barbecue. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. Go to 1010XL.com now. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
You're listening to Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey, with Tony Smith, and E.T. Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody. Aiden still going strong. How's the young lad doing today? He finished those Fruit Loops or what, man?
Man, no, he ain't finished them. Jacko came in here and got him, so he's probably giving him something out there. I ain't no telling, but he didn't even get to finish his his Fruit Loops.
Hey, Jack probably had some, like, station logoed merchandise.
Right.
Like, hey, young man,
Give him
can
a
I
pen.
interest you in a pen?
Yeah.
Like, what about my Fruit Loops, man?
What do you think about this 1010XL towel? You like that?
It's a golf towel. One day you may grow up and hang this on your bag. You know, it'll be a collector's item by then. You know what? You can only get these at the Guggen Open, so that's nice. But what about the Fruit Loops, man? Yeah, apparently not too worried about it. He forgot flat about them. Left them there. I would have finished those off if I were you.
Yeah, they're probably going to get done.
Yeah, I thought so. All right, yesterday ran the poll and said of the Jags' 4 biggest perceived needs, which one do you think they're least likely to address in the first round? You said tight end. Today, I really agree with the way this poll is going because I'm kind of split between the top 2 options here. So, E.T., why don't we fire up the 10-10 take and discuss?
10-10 Take. Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take. Brought to you by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
All right, the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. When, if ever, will the Jags get a long-term deal done with edge rusher Josh Allen? I got to believe, Tone, that, Demetrius Harvey came on. He's like, hey, they're not getting it done in the offseason. If they were going to, the time to do it was before free agency.
Yep.
Right? As they
So
were,
you'd know what flexibility you have.
how much cap space do we have?
Yeah.
Do we have enough room to go out there and sign a, a major player to come in and be an obvious starter for this football team. So, I mean, could it happen before the season? I suppose it could, but I'd be surprised if it did at this point in time. Okay, so take that one off the table. By the way, 10.7% believe it will happen sometime this summer. Mm-hmm. And it might. I mean, we don't know for sure. We don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. But during the season, I think, Demetrius said, hey, look, Jags have never been one to do a lot of this. I don't know if you can go by that, right? Like, how long has Trent Baalke been the primary guy here? Every case is different, right? I think, though, if you're having the kind of season, if you're Josh Allen, that would entice the Jags to get a deal done with you before the season's over, you're probably like, I'm half the season away from finding out exactly what my real value is potentially, right? Because as you pointed out, Tony, there's a scenario where, like, hey, who knows what Calvin Ridley's going to want, right? Maybe what the Jags want to pay him and what he wants is something different, and maybe they want to franchise tag Calvin Ridley for a year, right? And only have that option with one guy next year. Maybe Evan Ingram, if he plays on the franchise tag next year, right? That's another guy. You can't just stop them all from leaving. So I think the first two options are extremely unlikely. 16% voted during the season. So it's after the season or they won't get it done. For me, I be honest with you, I'm really on the fence. I think this comes down to what does Josh Allen do for this team? How much does this team rely on analytics? Because the analytics people will tell you Josh Allen played really well last year. I think you and I, casual football fan, wants to see some sack production, right? Or greater sack production. If I had to bet, because I don't think it'll happen before the season ends, and you get down to, well, there are a lot of reasons why it might not get done, I'd probably say they wouldn't get it done if push came to shove. But I have one foot in each camp, either after this year or it just simply won't happen.
My feelings on it are similar to the discussions we had about Evan Ingram a few weeks ago, in that I think there's a possibility they could get a long-term deal done this offseason, but it would require that Nick Bosa does, right? Like, I think that with how free agency worked this year, everyone's kind of waiting to see what the money in the market's going to look like next offseason, right? And San Francisco still has the franchise option with Nick Bosa. We'll see what they wind up doing with him out there. Chase Young's going to be a free agent next offseason. Brian Burns is playing on his fifth-year option this year in Carolina. Like, there are big-time names in the edge market that we have no idea what their contracts are going to look like going forward. And I think that we've seen that teams are hesitant to be the one to set the market right now, right? When they're waiting to see what that market's going to look like. Marcus Davenport getting a one-year deal doesn't help anybody to understand what the value of these edge rushers are going to be when the money goes boom.
When he got $13 million coming off the year where he had a half sack.
Right. Like, I don't think anyone knows what the money's supposed to look like. That includes the Jags, who I think really want Josh Allen back. But I think both sides trying to figure out what is that number that makes both sides happy. It's a wild guess right now as to what that would be. So if I had to vote, I think they're going to get it done, but I don't think it happens till next offseason.
So after the 2023 season, that's 27% of the vote. 46% say they don't think they will get a deal done, which I guess means the majority think they will, just vary on when that timetable will play out. All right, you can still vote there if you haven't already at MD_1010XL on Twitter. But right now, let's welcome in Big Sirs at XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the rubber on the road with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, good morning, Leon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, man.
Good to hear.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
Will he be here for the long term?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
You don't think they'll get a deal done with him,
not
or
this year.
won't
Not this
desire
year.
to get a deal done with him?
No hurry, no rush.
What would it take? What kind of season would it take for that to change your mind? And by the way, if let's say he had a 15-sack season, it doesn't mean he has to sign a long-term deal here, right?
True,
I mean, they could franchise tag him. That would be one option. But he may just say, hey, I want to see what the open market has to bear.
And rightfully so. I mean, it works both ways. Right now, I don't think Jacksonville's I don't feel that there's a need to get him signed long-term right now.
Sure.
He's
here for the year.
He's here for the year right now. Now, if he goes out and he has a stellar year, gives you 12, 15 sacks, still got the capabilities of franchising him.
Right.
Yeah, but you can only do that with one guy.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And Calvin
Absolutely.
Ridley's only playing, I hear, on a one-year deal.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Evan Ingram may be a candidate to, have another. So
I think Josh Allen becomes expendable. If all things
equal. Does that mean for you, top priority is making sure you get a startable pass rusher in this year's NFL draft?
True.
Yeah.
True. I'm not sure which round.
Right, but a guy that you envision by next year could step into the lineup.
Absolutely, long term. Yeah.
And
it's going to be much cheaper.
Sometimes you find that guy after the first round.
That's true.
Plenty of times you find
Second
that guy
round,
after
third,
the first round.
Absolutely.
Give me that 245 twitchy guy with 245-pound twitchy guy with traits.
Yeah.
But I don't want to draft traits in the first round. I want some production to go with the traits.
Absolutely.
If we can get it. What are you guys going to produce today?
We're going to talk draft.
All right. Hey, 3 weeks, 1 day.
3 weeks ain't.
Let's do it. All right, man. We'll be listening. Leah, have a great show.
Appreciate it.
All right. E.T., what say you on Josh Allen? Short term, during the season, after the season, don't get it done.
I was leaning on during the season, but I think they'll wait after the season. It all depends also, because I'm hoping that he has a productive season. He starts off pretty hot. Like, you know what? This is what we've been waiting for this whole time, and then sign him.
It's tough, though, because once you get there, he is now months away from maybe hitting the open market in the year where the salary cap could jump by 40, 50 million bucks.
Yeah.
And all, what is that sweet spot of, okay, you've shown us enough, but yet you're still willing to take that financial security from us?
I think the organization would love for somebody to budge on one of these deals for one of these guys so they have something to base whatever they want to offer Josh Allen on. And right now, it's just so wide open that I don't think they can figure out where the numbers should start at.
The funny thing is, a lot of these contracts, and it doesn't always work this way, but you expect the next man up, right, to do better. Well, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Like if Brian Burns goes out and puts up a contract and then or gets a contract and then Josh Allen wants more, I'm going to be like, well, that's nice, but here are the sack totals for Brian Burns. Started with 7.5, then went 9, 9, 12.5.
Yeah.
That's a continuously ascending player who is still only 24 years old, by the way.
So you may be waiting to see what happens with Brian Burns, and we're going to offer something comparable to what Brian Burns get, maybe a little bit less, right? But it's like a mini market reset with the money that's coming in next year. Deshaun Watson's deal didn't change the quarterback market. Right? Lamar Jackson is dealing with that right now. That everyone's not willing to all of a sudden do what Cleveland was willing to do for Deshaun Watson last year. So I think there are teams that are waiting to see what's going to happen, and I don't know who's going to move first. I hope it happens this offseason from a timing standpoint for the Jags, but we're getting deeper and deeper into this offseason.
You know who's going to move first, and I've already moved. This week alone in our Football Diehards Dynasty League, I traded for and traded away Brian Burns in the span of about 48 hours.
Yeah.
So always tinkering, Tone. All right, that'll do it for us today. Thank you for playing along. Thanks to Demetrius Harvey from the Florida Times-Union for spending some time with us today. For E.T. and Tony, I'm Mike Dempsey. Back again, hard at it tomorrow. Will be 3 weeks out from the NFL Draft. Talking Jags with you right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Start taking care of y'all mentals, y'all bodies, and y'all chicken.
It's a Waste Management Wednesday